got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When your road seems rough ahead and you're miles from a nice warm bed, you just remember what your old pal said, and boy, you got a friend in me. 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 You got your troubles and I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, we can see it through. Boy, you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. Some folks are trying to get a little bit smarter than I am, bigger, stronger too. But none of them could ever love you the way I do. It's me and you, boy. And as the years go by, our friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
That was good?
Seven takes, that was it.
That's not bad.
Unless you want to do it again.
I don't know.
So we'd get another, get two more good ones in there.
Yeah.
Good one.
Friend in me.
Jared, don't move. Stay in the camera. Sing it. You got a friend in me. Come on.
You got a friend in me.
No, you have to stay in the camera, baby.
Please? You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Keep singing it.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Oh my gosh. Stay here, baby. Please try it. Try it like this and say, you've got a...
You got a friend in me.
Okay, again, go.
You got a friend in me.
So hard.
Hey guys, we're in our You've Got a Friend in Me series, and today's topic is dating. That can elicit a lot of different feelings, emotions, or thoughts. And today we have our guest, Jesse and Adam, here to discuss that topic. And hopefully you guys can just glean something that is beneficial for you if you are someone who is in the dating stage. And if you're not, I hope it can still benefit you to support and love your friends and to just be good friends while your friends are dating. We want to be able to support one another and encourage one another and build one another up and come alongside one another. So I hope during our teaching today and during our multiple scriptures that'll come up on the screen, you guys can just take something away really beautiful.
be steady. No matter what comes, I'm fixed on you. No matter what comes, fear can't hold me. I cling to you. I cling to you. I cling to you. The storm may be brewing deep within. Assurance may feel paper thin. I'll remind myself of who you are. You are faithful and you are good. Yes, you are, Lord. You are faithful and you are good. No matter what comes, my heart will be steady. No matter what comes, I'm fixed on you. No matter what comes, fear can't hold me. I cling to you. No matter what comes, my heart will be steady. No matter what comes, I'm fixed on you. No matter what comes, fear can't hold me. I cling to you. Oh, I cling to you. I cling to you. Oh, I cling to you. I cling to you. Fear, you don't stand a chance, 'cause I put my trust in Him. Hope, secure in Him. He is for me and not against. Fear, oh, you don't stand a chance, 'cause I put my trust in Him. Hope, secure in Him. He is for me and not against. Fear, oh, you don't stand a chance, 'cause I put my trust in Him. Oh, secure in Him. He is for me and not against. For me and not against. You're for me, you're not against. You're for me and not against. No matter what comes, my heart will be steady. No matter what comes, I'm fixed on you. No matter what comes, fear can't hold me. I cling to you. I cling to you. I cling to you. Oh, I cling to you. I cling to you. I cling to you. I cling to you.
As you guys worship, I just want to spend some time in prayer. Prayer is my favorite thing to do during a time of worship as well. It's just having that communication and communion with the Lord. So as we focus on dating today in our teaching time, I also want to just pray for friendship, because so much of dating starts with the foundation of friendship. And so as a group, in your groups or at home alone or whatever you're doing this week as you watch this, I just ask that you would bow your head, focus in, and just pray for the friendships in your life and those of the people around you. The foundation for a good relationship is praying for and investing in our friendships. So let's do that now.
stands alone. There's no other name more worthy of praise. He stands alone. He stands alone. Jesus, strong and mighty, King of glory, He is worthy. Yes. There's no other name more worthy of praise. He stands alone. He stands alone. There's no other name more worthy of praise. He stands alone. He stands alone. Jesus, strong and mighty, King of glory, He is worthy. Jesus, strong and mighty, King of glory, He is worthy. We praise the one who deserves all glory and honor. His kingdom will reign forever. His power breaks every stronghold. The enemy crumbles at His name. So we praise the one who deserves all glory and honor. His kingdom will reign forever. His power breaks every stronghold. Oh, the enemy crumbles at His Jesus, strong and mighty, King of glory, He is worthy. Strong and mighty, King of glory, You are worthy.
I think because growing up, no one really teaches us how to be independent. That's something just kind of to learn through it. And I think that young adult age is where you just feel really lonely and try stuff out and figure it out on your own. So when you're in your like adult age, you're able to be by yourself without feeling too lonely. Or
I think it actually comes down a lot with social media, because a lot of times you see people on social media having fun, whereas like say you're alone, like having to do work or study, and it just exacerbates your loneliness because you know you're not out there doing the things with them. And also I think it's hard to make genuine connections these days, especially like here at U of T. A lot of the times with people, you just see them in class, which only happens like once or twice a week, and people just come and go. So I think that's why.
The other thing that I think might be a cause as well is like the academic pressures,
because in university you have like you have to work on assignments and stuff, and that might be taking some time for people to socialize with others, and so that might be a reason as well.
I think you're always surrounded by community. In high school, you have your classes and go to every day. In college as well. And then as you get older, you start to lose that. So once you're out of college, we don't really have that sense of community anymore, going to class, seeing the same people every day. So I'd say that's a big factor.
I think it's because of the work culture here. The student culture and the work culture here just doesn't allow for personal relationships as much as you would like. Constantly studying, constantly working. It's always dedication to improving yourself. And I do like that, but there are things in life that are more important than money. There are things in life more important than whether you get 100% on this test. I think people should value the time they spend with the people they love a little bit more. But I think the culture in Toronto specifically is very, very, very dedicate yourself to improving yourself, and not emotionally or mentally. It's just climb up the corporate ladder, make as much money as possible, get the highest grades possible. And that's just the way it always has been. So
Hey everybody, welcome. Adam here, and today I got my friend.
I'm Jesse.
Sweet, and I'm excited for Jesse to be here. Firstly, one, because of the topic today is on dating, and you're much closer to that stage of life than I am. Now, I'm not ancient or anything.
Getting there.
Yeah, but it's 2 years of marriage, and it's probably been fun. Well, we'll talk about later what it's been like. But also the series we're in is You Got a Friend in Me more broadly, and it's just been a pleasure to get to know you. We've become friends in a very short period of time, and I really enjoy talking to you. Jesse is just a great kingdom framework for how he views the world, your own life. When you've told many stories looking back on your previous experiences, and I love how you've processed them, and I'd love for you to do that for all of our people today.
Honored. Yeah.
Jesse is a true musician, and I love
pastor's kid, the whole nine.
Coffee aficionado.
Yeah, coffee. Yeah, what else?
I watched the science experiment on the table. The timing, the weight.
Oh, yeah, man. It's magic.
So I just would love you, my friend, to walk us through kind of those dating years, get back in that mindset, put yourself there, and just reflect on how it was, and let's just see what comes up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's dig into some questions. So 2 years of marriage. Do you remember the first year? I hear a lot of people say the first year is the hardest.
Yeah.
How was your first year?
Yeah, I think about that phrase all the time because I totally disagree with it. And that might just be my experience.
Right.
The context of my marriage so far was meeting in December of 2019, 3 months before COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so the entirety...
The name that shall not be named.
Sure. Okay. The thing happened.
That happened to all of us.
Yeah. We then, our dating life was during that time and during that thing going on in the world. So our dating life really looked like we were the only people that we interacted with for several months. I had a bachelor apartment. She had a roommate. She also lived in Kitchener, about an hour and a half from Toronto, for anyone that doesn't know. And I would borrow a friend's car and drive to Kitchener when there was no one else on the 401.
It's the best time.
Dude, it was... Now it sucks. Now it's just like, I got to plan a weekend around going to Kitchener, not a day.
Yeah.
It was incredible having it kind of a pressure cooker environment in that. Because, my dating background, I had been about a year and a half single. My relationship before that was serious. For me, I thought it was it that I was in. I'm a very loyal person, and so I had kind of, and we're just getting right into it, but I had kind of made a decision in my mind, this is the person,
right?
And I was in it, and not just head but body. I had decided this is it for me. This is the woman that I'm going to spend my life with. Raised in a Christian home, had a very high view of marriage, value what the covenant is. You know, it's so much more than a commitment. It's so much more than a piece of paper. It's a covenant. And it goes all the way back to the Old Testament and what a covenant means and the shedding of blood. And I mean, yeah, we can go as far as we want into that. But
yeah.
So I was a year and a half single, and I was just like, you know, like, cool. I was like starting to feel confident again, because coming out of that relationship, I almost had to go through like a grieving process.
Right.
It you know.
Yeah, because you're all in. Like the way you describe it, you're all, and so that's just got to wreck you. To come out of that.
I've never gone through and never will / hope to never go through any sort of divorce or separation in a relationship, but I would imagine I tasted a little bit of that, because it didn't matter that there wasn't a piece of paper or something like, and I was, oh man, how old was I? Like early 20s. And there was a lot of emotion. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of like chemical stuff going on still, you know, like this is just reality, right? Like this is where you're at in that stage of life. And so that came to an end, and it wasn't my choice. I'm going to be real. Thank God that happened. I'm thankful for the outcome of that relationship.
Right.
Because where I am now, and the woman that is now my wife, her name is Olivia. God has blessed me with an incredible partner, incredible friend, beautiful, just more than I could have imagined. All the things that I want.
Punching above your weight class.
Yeah, all the things I thought I wanted, all the things that were attractive to me.
Yeah.
Not about just the person, but family, lifestyle, you know, financial stability, all those things, just like one by one, were just like eliminated from my like, this is who I want as a partner. And it just
had a list.
Yeah, whether I wanted to admit it or whether I had it written down, I didn't.
Yeah.
But it really became so clear that like God had put this woman in my life, and I'd always wanted marriage. And so for me, it was just like, all right, well, this is where we're going. And
Olivia's gushing right now. She's like, oh, I'm so glad he did this.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
I have a note on my phone of every single FaceTime call from our first FaceTime call until right after I proposed. Because I was just like, I want to look back. This is like real. I can show you this note on my phone. But it was, I knew that I want to keep track of every moment I've talked to this woman, because I want to look back and say, no, it's not by accident that I'm saying this is my person. This is the person I want to spend my life with, because we spent this time. It's not just time spent together at a movie or a shopping mall or on a date. It was like FaceTimes. They were conversations. It was laughter. It was serious. It was during this time where there was no social interaction. That was the only person that was interesting to me. So it was the only person that I was going to invest in. And I'm just grateful that that happened at that time.
Yeah. So what, I mean, you kind of get taken out in this previous one.
Yeah.
You're looking back in hindsight now, it's like, oh wow, like thank God, because now I'm seeing this,
right.
and this. Are there certain things you want to point out and be like, man, I was so naive because of maybe all the chemical stuff that I should have noticed some of these things and didn't, or
for sure.
Yeah.
My goal had always been to wait until marriage to engage sexually with a partner. That wasn't the case, I'll say, by the time I got to marriage. And I was very open and honest about that with my now wife, and she shared with me her past too. And there was a piece about it, because there was a sense of this is the past. And I think as believers, we are called to live in a new kingdom mindset. The old is gone, the new has come. There is a rejuvenation, a rebirth, baptism, whatever, all those instances of the Christ or of the faith walk. And so there was a sense of just like, once our lives start together, that's the beginning.
Sure.
And so that was one thing where it was just like, that played into my like commitment mentality, where in my head, that covenant had been made because I associated that act with that commitment, which in a context of marriage is correct. It's like that is the place for that act, that consummation. That's the only instance in which that should exist. Outside of a marriage, especially for someone like myself who grew up with that context, once I had gone there, everything else came with it. And so it was just like, I'm ride or die now because I gave that part of me.
Yeah.
So
was there any sense that because of that type of a compromise, whether like, did that start to flag other red flags, or did you notice them after the fact? That maybe she compromised, maybe that was part of what caused issues between us, or just the foundation kind of being cracked there?
Yeah, there's a lot more background to that specific relationship.
Sure.
Her previous experiences and all that kind of stuff, which I'll leave as part of her story and stuff like that. But it really, once I started to grieve it and recognize that what I had done is I had given myself to someone who didn't want to give themselves back. And also outside of the confines of marriage, this is a sinful act.
Yeah.
It's not something that's beautiful and God glorifying, which is hard to reconcile because I was like, well, as long as I actually get married to this person, it's not so bad.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like let's move past that. You know what I mean? So that was a huge thing for me. I had a couple other long-term relationships, one in particular, even before that, when I was like early 20s, so 20 to like 24. Again, I was just like, this is the one, you know, because I wanted that. I wanted that end result of marriage. And it, you know, I look back now and I'm just like, what happened in that year and a half between that relationship where I had fully committed and it was cut off. What happened in that year and a half is I learned to count the cost of what marriage actually is. Just like I said I love you to a few women in my life that I was in romantic relationships with. I meant it. You know, I have a genuine care. I have a willingness to lay myself down. That love can be there. But what happened in that year and a half is I started going, yeah, but will you continue to love them when you don't have that sense of feeling? When once you achieve that goal of marriage, let's say, it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's not a feeling.
Yeah.
And it's a choice before that, but it's exciting.
It's a lot of feeling.
It's a lot of feeling. It's a lot of feeling.
Yeah.
And after that, when you're like, oh, okay, 20, 30 years of this, love is a choice and it's an action. Ultimately, love is an action, but it's a choice. So I had to go, am I really willing to do that with someone? Before it was just like, yeah, of course I am. And then I was like, no, but really? If she gets in a car accident 3 weeks after you get married.
And it's paraplegic for the rest of her life.
Can't walk, whatever. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and you better like the way she laughs.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, that's a lot of time to deal with that laugh.
Yeah. Bro, I mean, yeah. So the dating piece of things for me is like that year and a half made me realize like I am only ever dating with the I'm in my like, you know, late 20s now at this point. And I was like, dating there's a purpose. It's not dating to see if I like this girl. It's not dating, you know, to fool around for a little while until I get my stuff together. No. It's like after 2 dates, you know, or at least it's just like, be honest with yourself. If there's like a line I could give for people in a dating season, be honest with yourself.
Oh man, so
get
hard.
out while you can.
Yeah.
Or go all in. It's just like, anyways.
Yeah, no, you said a couple of good things that I think is helpful to point out and summarize. Maybe like you can treat marriage like the finish line or the starting line, right? And that's I think if you're choosing to go the long haul, then marriage has to be your starting line, not your finish line.
Yeah.
Because if you finish that marriage, that first year is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
Right? Because you think it's all glory and trophies that first year, right? But if it's your starting line and you just start running there, I think it's going to be much more fun.
Yeah.
So
our first year, there's obviously things you work through. It's like I'd lived on my own.
Yeah, why do you put your toothbrush like that? Why do you do, you know?
Yeah. And we had a house lined up, and then 2 weeks after, within 2 weeks after we got married, that place got sold. And we had to find a new home.
Scramble.
In the first month of being married.
Ugh.
We had, again, no social opportunities.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things that just, how do you do this? You don't know. You just do it and you go with it. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to this. So you guys are thinking about that. There's a lot going on in that 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
I guess 2020 transition into COVID.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of maybe Christian circles would say like date in community and involve your community and discernment in community and stuff. But you guys don't have a lot of that. But you told me off camera you guys did do some work to invest early on. So tell me about that. What was it like to invest? What did you guys do?
Totally.
How did you make sure that starting line, you guys had a good push off the block?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick timeline.
Sure.
Met December 2019.
Yeah.
Got engaged September 2020.
Okay.
Married February 2021.
Okay.
So
kind of like 1 year.
In the grand scheme of things, pretty quick, you know, like 9 months between meeting and engagement.
Right.
6 months, 6 months between engagement and marriage. Before I even proposed, I went to the leadership at my church, and the pastoral care team that they had is in Chicago. An incredible couple, Angel and Lucy are their names, and they're absolutely amazing. The parents of one of the pastors, or the couple that oversees the church in Chicago, it's her parents.
Got it.
And I was just like, I really want to go through a premarital counseling before I even propose.
Right.
Because once that mark has kind of been made, it's really hard to go back. I've heard, you hear stories of people that are engaged that like call off the wedding.
Yeah, and that is not fun.
It's not ideal. Don't do that if you don't have to. Be honest, right?
Yeah. Well, I like what you're saying here, which is put in the work even before you get engaged, right?
I don't see how you can't end up with a better relationship by doing that. There has to be an intention. I'm not going to do premarital counseling or pre-engagement counseling with someone I don't see myself getting married to.
Right.
But what it will do is really open up some doors and say, you're marrying this person too.
Yeah.
That third, fourth, fifth, sixth door that you haven't opened yet because you're so excited behind door 1 and 2, you get those.
But Jesse, we talk about everything. I shared it all. Like we know all each other's stuff. We're good. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
Really, it's so funny. Like we're sitting here talking in front of a camera, we're having a laugh about it, but it's just like, I remember, I'll tell this real quick story. We were in one of the counseling sessions and we went through this big questionnaire, and it was just like, so the question at the end was, do you believe it's God's plan that you be with this person? And I was like, yes. And Olivia was like, no. And I was like, what?
Excuse me.
Like, we're 3 weeks into this. Like, what are you talking about? And just the way that she heard the question, the way that her mind processed it, her answer was different than mine. And I was just like, yes, finally, we're saying like the stamp of approval, like we believe God is like,
I have the ring in my pocket after this session, I'm asking.
Yeah. And that threw me. It was like a simple thing. And we talked about it and it was good. But like what it did was, for us, that up until then, there wasn't a lot of friction points.
Right.
Without that friction, you don't even know how you're going to address friction. And I remember that being one of the first things where I was just like, what do you mean you don't think this is God's plan for our lives, right? Like, and it was just her way of thinking. And we talked about it and we digested things and it was really, really good.
Nice.
But
so Emily, my wife, her Oma, that's her mom's mother, used to say to her, like, you meet the boy, you make him mad.
Right.
Then you know he hits you when he's mad.
Oh my gosh. That is an Oma thing, for sure.
Yeah. So to bring it into something that's maybe a little more true and good, it's the iron sharpens iron moment. It's the silver is made for the crucible and gold for the furnace, because it's in the fire and the heat and and that's a proverb out of the scriptures, right? It's in that the impurities can come to the top, so they can be scraped off, right? Yeah. And you do that as individuals, but then you also need to do that as the newly forming couple. Yeah. And if you don't do that as a new forming couple, then those impurities are still in there, right? Right. And so pre-engagement, we're going to rename it, pre-engagement counseling, or premarital counseling is a good way to put some heat and some pressure from people who have a little more wisdom, a little more experience, have been through these things before, to help see them come to the surface, scrape them off, so that your marriage can be more pure and ready and be a fine, precious metal when it comes out of the crucible. Totally. But anyway.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in it. Yeah. For anyone that's maybe past that point already, in engagement, moving towards marriage, doesn't mean all is lost.
No, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Engage in that, but like be intentional. Yeah. It is worth it. And even if it's just a third party to go like, hey guys, have you thought about this yet? Or how does faith play into your family dynamics? Are both your parents Christians? Like those kind of questions, just get the ball rolling. Yeah. And then what would happen is they would pose a question, and then the rest of the 30 minutes would just be us like riffing off that. Just like, oh yeah, this, oh that, right? Yeah. Like, anyways, great. I think it's awesome.
Good. Yeah, Emily and I, we had fun making up a big survey, and we're walking our first couple through it right now. So thanks guys for being our guinea pigs. So, okay, let's think back to these dating years, right? Yeah. So how did you meet some of those people? How did you make the decision to keep moving forward with them? Right. If you can think back to those earlier days, what was that like, being on the dating scene?
For sure. Yeah. It was, I was kind of like both feet in, right? Yeah. So it didn't take long for me to go, all right, I'm not one that's going to date 2-3 people at the same time. Okay. And I wouldn't suggest that's healthy necessarily. It's just like either you're in or you're out. If you want to date 3 people and
why do that though? Why not spin some plates? Why not play the field? Why not get around?
You're distracting yourself from any issues within any of them. It's just like if you're dating for the purpose of finding someone you want to marry. Again, this conversation has to have a biblical context. Yeah. Why are you dating? Yeah. This is a Western world that we live in, a 21st century world that we live in. So how are we doing dating? What does that mean? Dating is this weird thing that's very secular, very, very humanistic of us, that we want to engage with that person without actually fully committing to them. So it's, I get to know you, you get to know me. How do we work together? Do I like this about you? Do I like that? What do I really want in a life partner? Yeah. All those questions are in that relationship. But really, in at least in my head, my goal was always, I'm going to do this with the goal being, I'm going to get married to this person. Yeah. So, but that even in of itself led to me having like overcommitment issues, let's say, of you're not married. Therefore, don't sacrifice this in your life. Yeah. Don't let who God's created you to be in this season as a single person, don't sacrifice that season in pursuit of something else. My experience was that God provided someone and opened a door. And it was like, there it is.
Do you feel like some of the feedback in those relationships, because you're like like 2 feet in person, was like, oh, that guy's like so intense, or you're smothering, or like, that's like too much. I don't know if I can rise up to that level of commitment, or.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think maybe it was just the personality of the people that I had engaged with was also wanting that end result. It was always within a Christian context. Okay. So at least like, let's say like my 2 long-term relationships before my marriage were both Christian women. And I, that was a foundation for me. I was just like, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you had your filter. That's like number 1 on the list.
Yeah, number 1 was just
believe
like
the same God.
Yeah. And not just like believe, but like this is who you are. And I mean, you can take the kid out of being a pastor's kid, but you can't take the pastor's kid out of being a kid. I don't know how you'd say it, but it was just like, we're going to go to church every Sunday. We're going to be a part of a small group. Like those were just like, this is my life. This is who I am. Anyways. So to answer your question, I don't think I ever experienced anyone feeling a sense of overbearingness. Funnily enough, until my now wife, because during that time, I wanted to FaceTime every day, all day. And I remember getting like upset because she didn't want to sometimes. I'm like, what do you mean you don't want to? I mean, she had a roommate. I had no one. So she had, you know.
You're trying to make her your other roommate. Just
for
like,
sure.
Hey, TV person. Yeah.
Anyways, the experience of dating Olivia, who is my now wife, was every instance of it, I was excited for the next time that we got to interact. Because I was like, I see this going somewhere that is like a holy place that marriage is. And I got so stoked about that when I really started to sense that, which was very early on. Like I said, the dating was just like every time it was just like affirmation. It was just like, there's peace. This woman is, she makes me laugh like no one else. Like humor is a huge part of a successful relationship. Humor
make sure you make her laugh and make sure you like her laugh.
It looks different for everyone.
I want to do some hot takes.
Let's do it. Okay.
We got a few minutes left, and I want to hit up dating apps. What do you think? How do Christians handle dating apps?
What is the goal? Ask that question and be honest. And if you can't be honest, then frankly, you're going to do whatever you want anyways.
Yeah, fair enough. Is body count an issue?
An issue for what?
Should I date someone who's stacked up, maybe 10 previous sexual partners or 20 previous sexual partners?
Do you see the fruit of a faith walk in their life? And are they a new creation? Going back to what I said earlier, my experience, I don't have a high body count, but it's like, it's the same idea. Where are they now? Who are they now? This is my perspective, and you come back at me, bro, if this is out of bounds. But it's just like, dude, I was listening to this man the other day who was an adult film star, like won awards for his stuff, and God got a hold of his life, dropped a woman in his life named Hope. His wife's name is Hope.
Yeah.
And now he travels speaking the gospel, preaching, and like God is doing things through his life.
Yeah.
You literally couldn't count his body count.
Yeah. Too high.
And look what is happening. So
if God could take Paul, a murderer of Christians, and turn it around and be one of the most influential church planters in the history of Christianity, then he can deal with a high body count.
Yeah. You want to talk about body count? When we sat down, my Bible fell open to 2 Samuel. The first thing on the page is David and Bathsheba. I am not even joking. I didn't open it to this. It's just here. That is a sexual body count and a physical human body count.
Both,
And he's a man after God's own heart.
Yeah.
So there's nothing out of reach for the grace of God.
Yeah.
And if you've been that person, or you've been hurt by a person that has a high body count, there's hope, there's redemption. It doesn't mean pursuing marriage as the solution. It means finding yourself in the will and the love of God, and letting him do a work in you.
Yeah, it doesn't mean if they're like cheating on you and they're still stacking up bodies, doesn't mean, hey, if I marry this guy, that'll help lock it down. Or if I, we should just have kids, that'll help lock it down.
Nothing you do is going to change someone else.
Yeah.
I learned that.
Yeah.
And it's a hard lesson to learn, because you want to.
Yeah.
You want to be that thing. You want to be that person that's just like, we got this. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Now, in the confines of marriage, different story. We gotta talk about what the covenant is, the vows that were made, and you have to, really take a hard look at, are you going to walk through what it takes to get this thing back online?
Yeah.
Because I heard it said, like, if there's unfaithfulness in a marriage or whatever, it's like, you're not like cracking the glass. It's shattered. You're never going to get that back together, but you can have something new.
Yeah.
You'll have to start over, but there's an opportunity to build something new.
Yeah.
All hope is not lost.
Yeah.
And that's coming from someone that's experienced that firsthand in my own family.
Yeah.
God restoring, God bringing back life, and seeing fruit more abundant than before now that hard work was done.
I think now more than ever too, like with the way modern culture is going and sexual promiscuity being more prevalent in our culture, that message is certainly one that we need. Like that's some good news.
Yeah.
That there is a way to start over. There is hope. There is a way to have something new, and it's not just a flippant, come to Jesus and you can, it's all forgotten and whatever. It's like you're gonna have to reckon with some of that.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have to experience some deep, true repentance. And healing. But on the other side of that is great hope and beauty and glory. You might say, right? All right, so someone's dating. Last question, and then I'm gonna go get my kid from school.
Yes.
What if someone's dating right now and they're like, should I? This girl, she's pretty cool. It's going all right. What's their next step? Let's give like one or two potential next steps.
You should have put this on the question list.
Didn't I? Yeah, look, I did. It's right there.
Okay, well, I must have missed it. No, but again, to me, it comes back to intention.
Yeah.
If your goal is to find someone that is going to be your partner and your wife or your husband, depending on if you're a man or a woman, there's so many things that come into that. If there is a peace, like for me, it was really a peace inside that I'd never felt before. Before it was like, I'm striving and I'm going to make this work and I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this man and I'm going to, all these things.
Yeah.
When I started dating Olivia, there was such a peace inside that I was just like, how is it this easy? Or how is it like this? Because I hadn't experienced that before.
Would you say all dating relationships would eventually get to a place where there's that peace?
I don't know. That's been my experience.
Sure.
To me, what I've seen,
I would say no.
Yeah. And that's fair.
Yeah.
But I had a peace about having a sense of like, this is where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Now, if you just, hanging out with people and you're like into them, and then talk to people that love you and care about you about it.
Yeah.
If I had my previous relationship, let's say, or a previous relationship, there was people very, very close to me that I love that were apprehensive about that relationship. That relationship ended, and I was in a bad place for a while. Had I heeded their wisdom and their love, it could have looked a lot different.
Wow. Yeah.
There is so much wisdom, young people specifically talking to you, talking to us, I'm still young, and those that have gone before. Yeah, it's a different marketplace, it's a different world. But when it comes to matters of the heart and soul, there is no substitution for time and experience.
Yeah.
Find someone, if you have someone in your life that's older, that's gone through it, that's been married for 30 years, listen to them.
Yeah.
Heed their wisdom. Doesn't mean take their blueprint and apply it to your life. But when you hear those things, don't ignore them.
Yeah.
Because it'll save you so much pain in the long run.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, this is good. And Jesse, I want you to pray for us, bless our people who maybe are thinking that way. We got our share of single folks who are trying to figure it out and discern some next steps or whatever. And so, guys, this isn't to solve all your problems. This isn't to figure it all out for you. This is just to have a conversation, to keep going on these topics, to open up the door for you guys to talk in your R3s with your R3 leaders and with the people in your community about these things. Yeah. And so share. I think that's definitely been a theme today. Yeah. Share openly with your community, involve people. Yeah. Who knows what can happen. So could you pray for our people?
Yeah.
Would that be cool?
I'm honored. Yeah. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this community, for these people, for these souls. Lord, I pray that as we've spoken and just talked today, Lord, that there would be wisdom and revelation given to this community, that even if it's just asking questions or starting to ask questions or starting to think differently about dating and marriage and relationships as this series is about, Lord, I pray that you would be faithful in their lives to give them peace where there needs to be peace, to give them courage where there needs to be courage, to ask questions, to step out. Lord, and I pray that there would be an abundance of wisdom that is just poured out from generation upon generation to actually lead this community into a season of fruitfulness and an abundance and young couples coming together and getting married and successful dating and successful marriage, Lord. You again, you didn't promise that this life was going to be easy, but your promise is to be with us in it. And so as we enter into these relationships, God, prayerfully, thoughtfully, wisely, God, I pray that you would lead us, that you would give us strength, give us discernment in each of these areas. Father, I thank you for Pastor Adam and Emily, Lord, give them strength as well as they continue to lead, and may relationships flourish in this community like never before. We thank you for your faithfulness, for your love and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Enjoy your time in your R3, guys.